So welcome back to another week. It's Monday morning. No, it's not Monday morning, it's Monday afternoon actually. I have been out side spreading today, or dual spreading. We've seen that plenty of times, so didn't think I ought to film anything. And on returning the spreader to the king himself of South Molton, I came across Diddy Webber doing a bit of spraying in his big Bateman. Diddy Webber is one part of W&W Contracting, Worth and Webber Contracting. Wolly actually went out a couple of weeks ago with them carting maize back from, I think it was Fremington to Goodley somewhere. And then, speak of the devil, there is Wolly himself doing the last of the digestate, which obviously this was filmed 3 weeks ago, which was just before the slurry bath. So we're now into Tuesday, and I went and collected some feed barriers and a ring feeder for repair for a customer of mine. The feed barriers basically just need the bottoms welding back up because they just completely rotted out. And then the ring feeder, they just said I'll chuck it on the trailer as it needs a new sheet of tin, obviously, as you can see. So I proceeded to get that off the trailer, and then my inner child came out as I had to be a giant hamster in a hamster wheel. Who hasn't done that as an adult, as and a child? I mean, come on. What a time to be alive. So I was about to start doing work on the feeders and feed rails, because there's two feed rails. I'll show you those later on. So I measured up all my box, and then I got a voice note from a customer of mine who's already been in this morning. Their tractor is leaking from the back end somewhere, so now off to have a look at that. Lovely 195R drug dealer spec. That woman looked very American, left-hand drive Chevy big block. Right, yeah, we'll go there and sort that out. Somewhere out in the wilderness is my victim, or somebody who has fallen victim to machinery doing what machinery does best. I need to fill in the holes in this track. Oh, good God. So yes, it was Mr. Ryan Sanders who fell victim to machinery being machinery, and the leak of the 195 is actually coming from the brake, the hydraulic brake block valve thing where you plug it into the back of the tractor. The fittings crack on those occasionally, so I had to replace it with a new pipe. What have you broke now?
Huh?
What have you broke now?
Oh, fucking oil leak. Quite a lot of oil as well.
The problem pipe in question is that one there, and that disappears somewhere back in under there, so it's a pain in the arse to get to. But initially I thought it may have been the O-ring behind there, but obviously I was wrong and everything is complete bollocks. So we think the issue might be the O-ring in the end of there, so I'm going back to either get an O-ring or another one of those fittings, and also a blanking cap, because if that doesn't work we'll just blank off the hydraulic brakes, and then his nibs can carry on drilling, and we'll sort that out at a later date. Right, so the O-ring didn't work. And I rang Smallridge, and they said that the fittings crack on those sometimes. I've still got your narrow mode. There is a upgrade pipe, but we haven't got one of those. And I found some flat face fittings in the workshop, so I made a little bit of pipe. See if that cures it for the time being. And then when the tractor's not being used so much, we can try and put the copper pipe in. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Cobwebs all over me.
Mate,
What? Well, for you that's fairly normal. Have we fixed it?
Hope so.
New rubbery bit of pipe. So there is the other end of the bit of pipe. You can just see it there, and it is like, it's so tight in behind there. You can barely get your hand or a spanner in there. So yeah, that's why I didn't really film doing much of that. So, and it's all up and running and all marvellous now. Happy?
Yeah. Look, farmers that feed.
Farmers that feed, yeah. So I haven't actually filmed anything today, which, to be honest, is a breath of fresh air. I have been welding up these. I don't know if you saw them before, but all this was completely rotted out the bottom. The boards are all broken and split and cracked, so I've got new boards and they're a lot thicker. What I'm doing is just putting plates around the holes to strengthen it all up a bit. So, yeah, come along nicely. Put the new wood in, and then paint them with some of that zinc phosphate paint from Crab. I see how good that is, and then obviously bolt the wood in and everything. Nothing else has moved any further forwards. I did order a back door for that one. I don't know whether I told you that. That's better, you can actually see what's going on instead of being right on my nose. Yeah. Ordered a back door. Wolly has been on rear discharging today. I think he's going to be doing that tomorrow and Friday by the sounds of it, which is good. So yeah, busy. Didn't film anything today just because I have had to actually get on, which is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I'm afraid. It means I actually get things done, which is quite nice. Baling in October. Yes, please. There's actually quite a bit here, really. It is, however, the birds and bees mix, so probably has absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever. But it's better than eating snowballs for the cows in the winter. Rappy, Bailey. Yes. Wolly is on rear discharging today. I probably told you that already. So he is living the dream in the 6A. And yeah, busy. So that's it. Lovely view. Finished the day. See how the last bale. Fucking last bale wood. I've already rebaled that once as well. I hate machinery sometimes. It just chucked all the net round the first roller, but no apparent reason. You can see it there. Why is it literally the last bale and it's done this? There, that's all the net that ended up on the bale. Oh. I hate my life sometimes. I don't know why I bothered, to be honest. By the time I found out, it was too late anyway. So yeah, that's how that went. Baling 2025 done, I think. Bloody cowboys. It's the first time ever I've had to leave a squidgelet bale like that behind. This time of the year it's a complete nightmare. Trying to bale up the last bits. No. And then, where is it? Done. So that's that for a night, which is good. Get young Spuddy home to his mama. Oh. Get back to the walk me home lights have walked me home. Get back to a curry, lovingly made by my beloved wife. I think Wolly will be back fairly soon. I think. Don't know. Anyway, I'm going home. So I've just been to Mason Kings. Pick up the back door. I think that fits on alright. The only thing I will have to see is if this lip sits in the right place, but yeah. We'll have to move that up there, I think, those two. Marvellous. So the lip doesn't quite line up with that one, but considering that's a Fleming and that's a Malgar, I wouldn't have said that's too bad. And it's only tacked on, so yeah, you'll upset the galvanising, but you're never going to find a back door for a Malgar because they don't make them anymore. And that was only 150 quid, so yeah, I've got to modify those anyway. I mean, I could cut that off, but I don't really need to. But if I do away with that, then find a seal that will sit over there, that'll be the same as what it was before. Need to change this for a Pero. That's all rusty anyway. And then that's on Pero as it is anyway as well, so you know. Nearly done with feed barriers. Got to paint those. I might bring them in a minute because it looks like it's going to rain, but yeah, I might have a jig around, so I've got a bit more room. So it is the next morning and I'm getting down to business with the feed barriers that I've just sorted out. So you'll see me faffing here with two planks trying to put them in, but what I didn't remember was one barrier is slightly taller than the other, i.e. the gap at the bottom is like a centimetre wider. So there's me measuring it, realising my mistake, and then get the other boards into position and the barrier just drops over the top of them like that. And then get the holes drilled out, ready for the bolts, and that was those pretty much done. It does make me wonder sometimes why people repair barriers like these rather than buying new ones, because the time and effort you've put into repairing them sort of might outweigh the cost of a new one, but then the new ones aren't really built to they're not heavy duty enough. Like the boards in these would have been, like I said previously, 20mm, but these ones are now 50mm. They're Larch and Douglas, so they don't need to be treated, and they'll probably outlast the rest of the gate itself. And they don't put enough strengthening bits anyway, and the metal's not thick enough. So, but then I suppose it's like anything really, it's just designed to fail, isn't it? So I'm just cutting the bolt heads off that were protruding out so the little moulets don't hurt themselves, any sharp edges, and then that's these pretty much done, ready to go. That's those done. God, who knew a feed barrier could be so satisfying when it's done? I like that. So I've upgraded the boards and put an extra bar in the middle, because on the original boards they were only like 20mm thick, whereas they're 50, or they're 60. I think they are 50, and it didn't have a bar in the middle. So, and the bolts are bigger. Obviously welded the plates on the end. Coat of phosphate or zinc phosphate primer, and then some farm oxide from Tamac to just give it a sort of finish. So that's those done. So that's the ring feeder and barriers done. I have been commandeered by somebody to come and pick up some steels out of the middle of one of the housing estates down in Southampton. Some guy in a van turned up in the yard. He's like, I want to work with you, which is never good. And then he's like, oh, first of all, love the channel. He's like, oh, thanks. And then he says he got some steels to move, so we're off with the plant trailer and the Weidemann. Go and move those out of the way. Nothing to see here, officer. Don't look at us. We're all fine. Fair old thing to move around these. 36 foot long, we think they are. We obviously came here on our private road in Mexico, so yeah. Next thing I want to do is flip that one upside down to get all the dung out of it, so that when we take it to the scrap man, they don't moan at us, because we know what scrap men are like. Don't you know, pump it up, you've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up, you've got to pump it up. There's an oil leak on the Weidemann, and this is a handy feature of the Weidemann, that you can just literally tip the cab up and then you're there at everything. It's brilliant, real good selling point for the Weidemann, that is. There is a big puddle. Where is it? There. So somewhere there is a leak. Handy feature on the Weidemann. Start it up, see what we find. So the leak was coming out between the two slices of the pump, so I think eventually we'll either get a seal kit or a new pump. But we looked at the Weidemann website and they want $6,000 for that pump, but there's definitely a aftermarket replacement one that will just fit absolutely fine. So I found the problem. There's a bit of flexi pipe went from there to there, and it had a little split in it on the Weidemann. So that's that diesel leak. It's coming out a hole in there somewhere, and I was thinking the worst, that the headwood's cracked. Isn't it, Wally? Where's your bit of pipe? Yeah. Originally we thought it was going to have to be this, which is, well, first one was 152 quid, and then 60 something, and then we found this. Genius. So what I'm doing here is just cutting a hole in the top for the ball valve setup, because a little bit where it was before was a bit pitted, so I cut the top out and then just made a new ball valve, and I think it's a little bit more upgraded. It's similar to the Abbey tankers. Right, on the tanker, that's been bolted on. Last night I had a set 2. I welded this plate in and then cut a hole for the tube. I've just painted them all up for a minute because I will be cutting another hole back here for a blow-off safety valve. That's been welded in. The bit for the pressure gauge has been put in. That's just sat on there for the minute. What else have I done? Oh, Wolly's been busy taking this off, cleaning all those up. We need another seal for the back here. The hooks, they've moved for the new door. I've got a pero end to go on there. And yeah, all is well. Oh, could potentially have a fixed Weidemann. You're my hero. So it finally got to the point where I had had enough of not being able to get anything in the doorway of this workshop, because the stains was just blocking access to everything. So what we did, while now I'm also waiting for parts for that tanker as well. I got the tanker out, had a bit of a jig around at the back, moved the stains into that back corner, so now we've got plenty of room for activities, which is absolutely marvellous. Which is also good because this trailer is now in for a body rebuild. Initially we were just going to put some sides in it, but upon further inspection it's completely knackered. So basically I have made a cut list with Dyford steels, and I shall be doing a complete body rebuild on that one at some point, fairly soon hopefully. So here it is in a bit closer detail. The back door is pretty much missing, and it's got a gate post strengthening the top of it. And yeah, this is basically what horse dung does to a trailer over a number of years. It's absolutely ravaged it. The floor as well has got holes in it everywhere, and it's just expired really. It's a real shame, but a body rebuild I think is the most economical way to just sort of solve this problem. Wednesday. Got this one in. Wally's going to take the spout off and see about what's going on in the flywheel. And then I've got that one in there. And I'm just sorting out all the edges and nice little bits before that'll get fully welded in. Had a shuffle around in the yard as well. I have sort of suggested that this is probably better to be a rebuilt body on that one, but I'll have to see what they say. Anyway, to work. So as ever, you can do something a million times and still forget one little thing. Here I forgot that there are 2 little coach bolts that hold a little plate that's part of the blower housing to hold the top of the spout on. So just educating Mr. Wallington that is there, and yeah, and then that should come away quite easily. I'm just taking this off because the paddles are a bit bent on this one, so get those out, straighten them up, and then this one will be for sale when it's done. Actually, we'll have all new bearings and been gone right through. Electric controls, swivel spout, bloody brilliant. Probably like most of the children today. Bent as fuck. That does move. That was a water ball. Yeah. Simply fruity. Just unbolt all these ones and then yeah, possibly get the flywheel out. Might be able to just straighten these little bits up while it's in there actually. Marvellous. By golly, Wally, you've been busy. He's got all the sides off and the comb for the rotor, and what we're about to do now is lift the actual rotor itself out because I want to get the flywheel out to straighten that up. A bit like the same on, I don't know if any of you lot have watched the rebuild I did probably, I don't know, it's 2 years ago. I had an 8080 with a smashed up flywheel, got that out and did the same. So I want to get that one out. What is different with these mounted ones is the rotor isn't like on its own sort of chassis, if that makes sense. It's part of the actual frame. So there's a slot right next to where I am now, and we're trying to slide the rotor shaft back to then get it out. That's how they're built. But what I didn't realise is you've got to completely get the whole bearing case off. So I've melted the bearing itself, but the inner race was still left on it. So that's why we're having a few difficulties. And eventually I worked that out, blasted it off, and then we did get it out in the end. But it's always interesting to just try something new on a similar machine to what you've worked on before. What's going on? The screws fly on. So that was yesterday's carnage. Wally's made a right mess of that. Had to cut all the bearings off. Put new ones on anyway, and then we've got to take the floor out as well. Well, not the floor, but the drive bar for the floor. Oh, I have a Sherborne Reynolds rotor, if anybody's looking for one. That'll be off the same as mine, so that'll be for the older dairy contractor ones, or the newer dairy ones. So there's that if anybody wants. And then, so I got on yesterday. That's all fit up lovely against the front, because obviously there's the dent, well not dent, but the strengthening ridge. And then I've cut here as well, so that sits in lovely. Ignore that, that's the annoying thing, there's holes everywhere on it, but we've just asked to do this front bit for the time being. What I need to do now is get on the inside and cut outwards on top of this one, so that it just sits in there, and then I can do some funky stuff with bottle jacks and get it all pushed against the side and weld it in. I'll see if I can get up here without dying. It's in there nicely. So yeah, I think for Wally's activities today, he will be, like I say, removing this lot because that bearing's gone, and then just check any of the slats and whatever, get the flywheel off, get that one straightened up, and then get all the paddles straightened up as well, because they've hit something, but I don't know what. Yeah, right, I'm going to get to doing that, and yeah, achieve.
God, look at that big, strong, manly man. AKA my husband. Sexy, sexy. That's it.
So, on with this now, putting the side in. I'm just getting it into the right place, so then I can get all the bottle jacks in, which you can see the red and the blue one there, that just pushes it tight right up against the side, and then I can just tack it in, because I'm not putting it over the top of what's there, I'm putting it in a hole that was specifically made for it, if that makes sense. But I prefer to do that than sandwich two bits of metal together, so then it will just rot out quicker. So this is the way I'm doing it, and yeah, I think it's come out quite nice. You get the idea. I'm going to be here for a while. So now we can start cutting the other side out. Now I'm cutting it halfway up that bulge because a sheet of 8x4 fits perfectly in that thing. So basically, there's no need for any additional cutting. You can just cut that out, whack it in, and job done. It works out quite well. And it sits on the uprights in the right place, so you've got enough overlap for a good weld. So that is it. I think this is Friday, if I remember rightly. I don't really know. I've sort of lost track of what days is what. It could be halfway into the next week. But what we have coming in now is a Protec self-propelled post banger from one of the local fencing contractors, Mr. Patrick Gear. It needs a few little jobs doing. Needs new idlers on the tracks, because they're plastic on this one, which is a bit weird. But then they've been upgraded to cast iron ones. Then there was just a few other little things, like the winch wasn't working properly, which you'll see in the next week's episode as to why it wasn't. Then it needs another work light, a little grease hose needs putting in, and just a bit of a birthday, I think as people call it. Good grease up, check the oils. Oh, there was an oil leak as well actually. But yeah, here we see Wally marvellously, or expertly as I should say, manoeuvring into position to then get going on it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this week. Hope you've had a good week and a good weekend, and I shall see you next week for more fun and games, stuff and things, and just general goings on in the workshop. There's probably not going to be much more tractoring done for quite a while now, because obviously it's the middle of winter. Well, not the middle of winter, but it is winter. So anyway, thank you very much. I shall see you again next week. Goodbye. £2.5 worth of bits there. Mental, innit?
Scary.